Hey everybody! So today's going to be our last video lesson, and actually we're done with all the lessons. Y'all are all done with test 5, and so now we're on to preparing for the final, which is a cumulative final. So that means it covers all anything is fair game back from day 1. But I kind of wanted to go over all the problem types I want you to be prepared for. So if you want to be good and prepared for the final, this is an excellent video to watch to get you ready for that. And I'll have this review that I'm using. I will publish it on Blackboard and email it with the email. What I'm thinking for the final is, let me add a blank piece of paper in here and move these around. What I'm thinking for the final is I'll open it up on Monday at 8 a.m. You can go work on it then. Okay, it's not many questions. It shouldn't take you that long. I want it due, so you have to finish it by Thursday at 11:59 p.m. Please don't wait till Thursday to do it. Go ahead and do it Monday or Tuesday. Oops, I forgot the rest of Thursday. Okay, it'll be in Blackboard, just like these last few tests. Alright, and of course it's going to be open notes, open videos, go back and watch videos. You can watch this video. Also, you don't have to finish it in one sitting. If you wanted to do 2 problems on Monday morning, come back and do another 2 Monday for around lunchtime, and you could finish it that way. I would probably just suggest you get it over with Monday morning, but anyways, that's whatever you would like. Okay, so let's run through these problems. This is maybe your last time hearing my voice for the semester. Let's go ahead and end it with a bang with some good math. So the first thing, a lot of this course started with being able to factor. So we're going to have you solve by factoring a simple polynomial, a simple trinomial like this. So remember, when we factor, got to throw those cheeks down. Okay, and the first term is a simple first term. There's no number out front, so I know these first 2 terms are going to be x and x. So remember, what you're looking for is I need 2 numbers. I need these 2 numbers here that will multiply to positive 12, but will add to negative 7. So multiply here to positive 12, but add to negative 7. Okay, well, what numbers multiply to positive 12? Well, we know that positive numbers multiply to positive 12, like 1 times 12, but are 2 positives ever going to add to a negative? No, this is going to add to another positive. So it's probably not any of these positives, because they're going to add to 8 and add to 7. So that's close, that's just the wrong sign. Well, what about negative 3 times negative 4? Negative times a negative would make a positive, and that would add to negative 7. So those must be our numbers, a minus 3 and a minus 4. Now don't celebrate yet, we just factored. The instructions say to solve for x by factoring. So we factored. What do we do after we have factored? Remember, you set, whoops, I can't even write. You set each factor equal to 0 and solve each simple problem. So add 3 over, so x equals positive 3. And what's our other solution going to be? Add 4 over. So x equals positive 4. So there we go. Positive 3 and positive 4 are our 2 solutions for x. Hopefully you think it's simple enough. So then we're going to use this skill to solve a word problem, which is going to match the same skill. Okay, so it says you have a garden, and the garden is 150 square feet. Okay, and then it's going to give us some hints about the length and the width. The length is 5 more feet than its width. What are the dimensions? Well, what do we know about area? Area is length times width, right? And what do we know about length? What I underlined right here in red says the length is, that means equal, 5 more than. That means plus 5. What is it 5 more than? The width. Okay. So to make this simple, instead of using an L, this goes back to your algebra 1, instead of using L, I could substitute in something of equal value to L. That 5 looks like an S. W plus 5 instead. So I could say area is equal to L times W, but not L. What are we going to use for L instead? W plus 5. Is everybody okay with that? L is equal to W plus 5, so I could replace it. What do I want to replace it? Now I have the same variable in here, and I happen to know area. It's 150 square feet. So 150 equals W plus 5 times W. All right, so once you get the setup, now it should be pretty easy to solve, okay? Because I'm going to want to distribute here, right? Let's leave the left side alone for a second and distribute this W. W times W is W squared. And W times 5, oh, that's just 5W. There's a W squared, so I could try to solve this by factoring. So why don't we subtract everything over? So subtract the 150 over to this side, and now we'll have 0 equals W squared plus 5W minus 150. Now the important question is, does this factor? And the answer will be on this one, yes it will. So I just need to work hard to factor it. So throw the cheeks down. It's another simple factor, W and W. And let's see, they multiply to negative 150 and adds to 5. I'm pretty sure that will be positive 15 and negative 10. And of course it's equal to 0. So now I can set each factor equal to 0. W plus 15 equals 0, and the other one's W minus 10 equals 0. This feels a little bit silly, because can the width be two separate things? No, but let's continue solving. If I subtract 15 over from both sides, this one's going to tell me the width is negative 15. Well, that should send off alarms. I can't have a negative width. This one's a bad answer. What's this one? Add 10, add 10. The width is 10. Yeah, a positive answer works, so I know the width. It is 10 feet. Now, on the test, just type in the number 10, because it's on Blackboard. What's the length? Well, the length is just 5 more. 5 more plus 5. What's 10 plus 5? 15 feet. Okay, so you'll get one like that on the final. Okay, not too hard. All right, here is another question on the final, one that takes a rational function like this and has you just evaluate it by plugging in 5. So let's see, how do I like you to evaluate functions? I like you to write them out with big blanks for where the x's go. 3 blank minus 13. Well, what are we sticking in there? We are sticking in 5. So everywhere there was an x, I just have parentheses. Okay, now what's 5 plus 7? And once again, use a calculator if you're a little bit stressed on adding or subtracting or multiplying. 5 plus 7 is 12. Let's see, 3 times 5 is 15. 15 minus 13 is 2. Now, does this reduce? What's 12 divided by 2? Oh yeah, that is just 6. So not a hard problem either. Right? Okay, awesome. A few more to go through here. Let's change pages. So here's one where we're solving a rational equation, or a rational expression equals a rational expression. So remember to do this. Some people just tell you to cross multiply, which is essentially what we're doing, but the fancier way of doing this is to multiply both sides by the common denominator. The common denominator is just going to be both of these bottoms. Okay, why is this just like cross multiplying? Well, look, x minus 3 and x minus 3 cancel. So you just have 4 times x minus 1 equals, over here, x minus 1 it cancels, x minus 1 cancels. You just have 5 times x minus 3. So that's why some people teach cross multiplying, is I'm not really cross multiplying. What I'm doing is I'm multiplying by the greatest common denominator, or the common denominator here, and these pieces are dividing away. So now I can distribute and solve, right? So if I distribute the 4, that'll be 4x minus 4 equals 5x minus 15. Alright, well, let's get the x's on the same side. Let's subtract 4x from both sides. Okay, so I got negative 4. Don't drop the negative sign in front of the 4. Remember, it belongs to it. Anything directly in front of a number belongs to it. This will be 1x. I don't need the 1 minus 15. So now I'm almost done solving. This is pretty simple. All I got to do is add 15 over, right? Let's see. Negative 4 plus 15. If you need to use a calculator, negative 4 plus 15 is 11. So x equals 11. Pretty simple. Okay. Awesome. So we hit another word problem that's very similar. This is, you're going to hit a distance equals rate times time word problem. Okay? And what these are always going to be in this class is we're going to give you two trips to compare their distances, rates, and times. Okay? So it says you can jog 4 miles per hour faster than you can walk. When you jog, you can go 12 miles. That's a distance. So let's make the top one jog and the bottom one walk. So you can go 12 miles in the same amount of time that you can walk 4. So what's the distance for the walking? 4. Okay? And it didn't tell us their times, but it did say in the same amount of time. So that means their 2 times are equal. So how did they relate the speeds? Well, that's what they're asking for, is how fast do you jog and walk? So these are the things we want. But notice it said you can jog 4 miles an hour faster than you can walk. So jogging is 4 miles an hour faster than you can walk, right? So let's just say that W is your walking speed. What is your jogging speed? W plus 4. Does that make sense to everybody? Because you can jog 4 miles an hour more, 4 miles an hour faster, plus 4. Okay? So you can walk some speed, you can jog plus 4. Okay, now, let's talk about what to put in the times. So let me do a little scratch work over here. If distance equals rate times time, I could solve for time by dividing the r over, right? So distance divided by rate equals time. So this is actually what we want to write in the time thing. In each time box, we would like to write the distance, which is 12, over the rate, which is W plus 4. We've done this early in the semester, so I hope it's coming back to you. In the time box here, we want to write the distance, which is 4, over the rate, which is just W. Now the hint says the same times, in the same amount of time. So these two times are equal. So the time of jogging equals the time of running if we're talking about these 2 trips. So we have an equation to solve. 12 over W plus 4, and that's equal to 4 over W. Well, this is exactly like the last problem we just solved. A fraction equals a fraction. So we're going to multiply both sides by those common denominators, or quote, like some people say, cross multiply, which we don't say, but 4 plus W and W, W plus 4 and W, and oops, I wrote a 4. And stuff will eliminate. Let's see, W plus 4, W plus 4. I'm left with 12W equals W and W cancel. I have 4 and W plus 4. I could distribute this 4. So 4W plus 16. 4 times 4 is 16, right? So now I can solve this equation. I just need to subtract 4W from both sides. That'll leave me with 8W equals 16. Then divide both sides by 8. And that'll leave you with W equals 2. So that's our walking speed, 2 miles per hour. What's our jogging speed? What's 4 faster? Well, what's 4 more than 2? That's 6. 6 miles per hour. Okay? So there's that one. The next question on the test, because we're going to have you solve a quadratic equation using a quadratic formula. Now notice we need it equal to 0, so I can start by just subtracting 3 over x squared minus 7x minus 3 equals 0. Okay. And let's see here. Quadratic formula. Sorry, I got a phone call, so I got lost in what I was doing. So the quadratic formula, you need to, well, I guess I would say you need to memorize this, but you can always look it up, is the opposite of b plus or minus, so it's 2 answers in one, the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2 times a. Okay? So minus b, well, it's negative 7. What's the opposite of 7? No, sorry, what's the opposite of negative 7? Positive 7. Plus or minus the square root of, let's see, negative 7 squared is 49, minus 4 times a is 1, times c, and c happens to be negative 3. All divided by 2 times a, 2 times 1, so just 2. Okay? So we'll want a calculator to work these out. We'll need to look and use a calculator. We could probably do some of this in our heads. Let's see. Where is it at? So this is negative 4 times 1 times 3. That's just plus 12, right? So we've got 7 plus or minus the square root of 49 plus 12 over 2, right? And then, let's see, we can add 49 and 12. That will be 61 over 2. So now we would like to use a calculator to find these two answers. So I don't have my calculator open right at the moment, but you would go 7 plus the square root of 61 all divided by 2. And what do you need to be really careful of here? You would need to throw some parentheses around that part. Okay? And that'll give you one decimal answer. And then to get the other one, you need to go 7 minus the square root of 61, put some parentheses around it, then hit divided by 2, and that'll give you the other solution. Let's see, let me pull up a calculator just to show you. Calculator. Let's do that one. So it would just be 7, let me clear it, parentheses 7 plus, where's the square root button on here? I can cheat it and use a, let's see. Standard one have it? Yeah, standard one has it. Doesn't have parentheses. I could probably type parentheses. Parentheses. Nope. Alright. Who cares? Let's get back to scientific. Alright, cleared it. Parentheses 7 plus. Now I need the square root of 61. I can do that by going 61 to the 0.5 power, remember? Okay, and then I need to hit divided by 2 and hit enter, so I get about 7.405. It's about 7.405. Oops. Okay, and then we need to do the other one, and instead of plus I need a minus, so parentheses 7 minus 61 to the 0.5 power divided by 2. And so I got, I lost it. Let me bring it back. Negative 0.0405. Okay, so there's our two solutions. Just be careful with your calculator and make sure you put parentheses around the top part. Alright? Okay, awesome. last few problems here. One is going to have you use a graph to answer problems about a function. We did this back in Algebra 1, but it pops up here. So for instance, the thing to remember is the part going into the graph is the x, and the part coming out is the y. So we just want to use the graph, whether we're on the y-axis or the x-axis, to spit out the other one. So here's our graph here. So if x is negative 3, what's y? So if x is negative 3, I think I meant to type negative 4. Forgive me. If x is negative 4, on the test they all should come out whole number answers. But if x is negative 4, what is the y value? Trace it to the graph right there. What point is this? This is the point negative 4, 3. So if x is negative 4, what's the y value? Oh, the y value is 3. So f of negative 4 is 3. That's pretty simple, right? Now let's look at this one. If x is, we don't know x. We get the y value. So this is the x, this is the y. We get the y value of 3. So go on the y-axis. Here's the y-axis at 3. I meant to ask another question. My goodness, I meant to. Typo on this one, my bad. I think I put the wrong graph. Let's go with if y is 2. This one's a better example. If y is 2, what's the x value? Wait a second, aren't there two things with the same y value? This point is what? Negative 5, 2? What's this point? Negative 3, 2? There's two answers here. So if y is 2, what's x? X could be negative 5, or x could be negative 3. So check out, make sure you're careful noting that there might be two answers for when we give you the y value, chasing back to the x, okay? Alright, this one we've done in Math 105 as well as Math 111. Just an interest account. They actually make it simpler on the final. They wanted to do compounded annually, which means we don't have to worry about the n anywhere in here, okay? So you deposit $4,000 with about 5% interest. How much money will there be in 10 years? So P is the starting amount, $4,000, 1 plus the rate. R is the rate. It's 5%, but remember, we got to make this a decimal. 5% is a decimal, is 0.05. So 0.05, and it's going to be compounded annually, so there's no n there. And the time is how many years? 10 years. So we just want to be very careful putting this into our calculators, and you can literally type it all at once just as you see it. Let's see, let's clear all this stuff out. So 4,000, parenthesis, 1 plus 0.05, close parenthesis. Oh, why did I hit it too? Dang it. Okay, let me clear and try again. 4,000 times parenthesis 1 plus 0.05. Make sure I hit the right buttons. Y'all know I'm bad at that with the calculator. Close the parenthesis, and let's raise this part to an exponent, and it will be 10. Okay, and there's what we will have: 6,515 and 57. But the next number is 8, so we need to round it to 58. So 651558. And because of the way Blackboard is, I told you not to write the $sign on this test. I put it in the instructions to be able to be extremely careful with them taking answers or not taking answers. Alright, awesome. Then our last topic is what came from this last test, solving all these type things. Okay, so the first two, I'm just going to give you the strong hint of rewrite them. If they're an exponential, write them as a log. If they're a log, write them as an exponential. And so, let's see, if I could rewrite this as a logarithm, what's the base going to be? 4. So log base 4. Remember, the x and the 10 change places when you're converting back and forth. So I just got to do log base 4 of 10. Wait, don't we have a way of doing that in our calculator. We would type it in as log of 10 over log of 4 equals x, or equals whatever we're looking for. So let's get our calculator, and let's clear all this out. So go natural, or not natural log. So let's see, remember you got to type the number first. 10 log divided by 4 log, and we got to hit enter. Boom, 1.661. So this is 1.661. Okay, that's pretty simple. Alright, let's try the next one. So same advice. This one's in a logarithm, so let's write this one as an exponential form. What's the base? The base is 4. X and the 5 trade places. 4 to the 5th equals x. So I just got to figure out 4 to the 5th. Now, if you don't know 4 to the 5th, there's nothing wrong grabbing the calculator. Clear this out. 4 to the 5th. I got 1,024. Awesome. That's actually a really quick and simple problem as well. Oops. Alright, one last one. This one's not really a log solving problem, but remember, how do I undo a third root? The opposite of a third root is a third power I could apply to each side. And the third root and the third power eliminate, they cancel out, so x equals 5 to the third. And I could just type 5 to the third in my calculator, or I could just know that's 125. So that one's actually really simple also. Alright, so those are the things I want you to focus on for the final exam. I will send an email with a lot more detail later on, okay? I hope you guys have if I don't get to see you or talk to you again, I hope you have a wonderful summer break. Stay safe, and hopefully I will see you around in the fall.